The Dibia prepares a powerful ritual to commune with Chukwu and Allah on Amaka's behalf. This involves offerings of yam, coconut, kola nut, and sacrifice of a white fowl. Amaka is instructed to stand and silent while the ritual is being performed. This is part 2 of the silent gods. Amaka's faith began to waver as silence of the gods stretched on. She remembered the times Chukwu and Allah had answered her cries with swift miracles, but now her prayer seems to dissolve into the air. Despite her doubts, she continued her rituals, lighting candles, pouring libations, and whispering fervent words at the village shrine, as she believed this was the only way her Chukwu could hear her. So one day, as she prayed for her blind sister, her hands trembling over the sacrificial offerings, a dark thought entered her mind. What if the gods are no longer with me? The thought engraved at her, threatening to unravel the hope she hung onto. The villagers noticed her change. Perhaps Amaka has lost favor with Chukwu, they murmured. Even the Dibia, once her guide, began to avoid her. Yet Amaka refused to give up. She trekked to the sacrifice grove, seeking answers from the spirit said to dwell there, determined not to give up. Days and nights she sat beneath the ancient Iroko tree, calling out to the gods. The air grew still, the forest unraveling, quiet, as though even nature refused to answer her. On the final night, as her voice cracked with desperation, she saw a faint, flickering light at a distance. Following it, she came upon a mirror-like pool. She peeped into it. She did not see her reflection, but a vision of herself carrying a lantern in the dark. A voice whispered, "The gods are within. What will grow silent is for you to find your own light." Amaka's search for answers. As Amaka begins to feel abandoned by her gods, she recounts the miracles of the past, how Chukwu had healed her father, saved her crops, and brought justice for her family as well. But now, her life is unraveling again. Her sister Nneka grows gravely ill, and the village harvest is failing despite her prayers and offerings. There is no divine response. Amaka wrestles with doubt. She remembers her grandmother's teachings, but wondered if she misunderstood the gods. Then the villagers began to distance themselves from her, believing she had offended the gods. She overhears whispers of curses and punishment. Amaka resolves to find out why the gods have grown silent. She seeks the help of the Dibia, who reluctantly access to perform a divination ritual on her. At the event, the Dibia prepares a powerful ritual to commune with Chukwu and Allah on Amaka's behalf. This involves offerings of yam, kola nut, and a sacred white fowl. Amaka is instructed to stand in silence while the Dibia speaks for her. As the ritual begins, the air groans heavily, and strange whispers seem to echo through the shrine, the fire flickering unnaturally and shadows on their own. The Dibia suddenly collapsed, claiming he saw a vision of darkness surrounding Amaka. He refuses to continue, muttering, "The gods have turned their back. Seek not what you cannot understand, child." Desperate, Amaka decides to take matters into her own hands. She remembered a tale of her grandma told her about the sacred hills of Udoku, a place where mortals could speak directly to Chukwu. Despite warnings from elders, she set out alone. The journey is arduous. Amaka faces wild animals, treacherous paths, and sleepless nights. Each obstacle tests and revolves her, but she presses on, driven by her belief that Chukwu will answer her if she can trust and reach the hilltop. Along the way, she encounters strange phenomena: a growing bed that vanishes when she follows it, a figure in the mist that seems to call her name. Then she wondered if these are signs from the gods or trick of her imaginations. Amaka finally reaches the summit of the sacred hills, where she finds an ancient altar covered in moss. Exhausted, she sat and kneeled and pours out her heart, begging Chukwu for answers. The sky darkens and the wind howls. A beam of light illuminates the altar, and Amaka feels a presence all around her. She hears a deep voice, but the words are cryptic. The silence of the gods is not the absence of power, but the beginning of wisdom. Amaka is shown a vision of herself walking through a dark forest, carrying a lantern. The voice tells her that the gods have given her all she needs, and that the silence is a test of her strength and faith in times of difficulties and trials. Amaka's returns to Omora. Changed by her experience, she now believes that God's silence is intentional, meant to teach her to rely on her own inner strength. However, the villagers remained skeptical. Some even accused her of lying about her encounter, while others mocked her for believing in a silent God who wouldn't answer her. Despite their doubts, Amaka begins to find solutions to her problems. On her own, she plants new crops, nurtures her sister back to health with herbal remedies, and help her village prepare for the next season of bountiful harvests. Over the time, she notices substitute signs that the gods are still with her. A drought breaks after she performs a simple prayer, and her sister fully recovers. The villagers begin to see her as a wise and strong interpreter, though Amaka insists that the god's silence was a lesson to see her faith in them. One night, Amaka dreams of glowing bed. Again, this time it speaks, saying, "The gods do not leave, they only guide from afar." When she awakens, she finds a feather on the altar. Amaka shares her story with the village, teaching them that faith is not about constant answers, but about trust, resilience, and self discovery. She becomes a symbol of hope, showing that even in silence, the gods are present in the strength they inspire. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Jack and Wealth.